All right, hey everybody. So in this video, I am going to show you how to change the texture of the side of walls, as well as I'll do the roof at the end if I've got some time, and I think I will. So the way we do this is actually by changing the structure within Revit of the wall, and you'll see what I mean by that in a moment. And what it's going to do is it's going to take a model that looks like this, and it's going to make it look like this. So it's going to actually add to that model a texture. In this case, I've got some clapboard siding, there's different options, and some asphalt shingles on the roof. So this can really improve the look and feel of a model, and it also can make it actually more true to what it's supposed to be. If we were to look at a section of this, you actually see the different layers here. And that's what these different lines are. These are the shingles on top. This is the plywood underlayment, and then the exterior siding. So that's the goal here. I'm going to just close this up so we can work directly in here. So like I mentioned, we're actually going to change the structure of the walls. So to do this, I'm going to just pick a wall. We're going to worry about changing all the walls to the same type later. But for now, I'm just going to pick one wall. You see I've used the generic 6-inch wall here. I'm going to edit the type of that wall, and you're going to see there are actually a number of types of walls. These are the same ones that pop up in the drop down when you click over here. But what we want to actually do is we want to duplicate this existing one. We don't want to change this one. We want to make a copy of it. I'm going to call this 2x6 exterior, if I could spell, wall, E-X-T-E-R-I-O-R. Good. I'm going to click OK. Now you see I have this option here, and my generic 6-inch wall is still down there. We'll leave that alone. So like I said, we're going to change the structure of this wall. So I'm going to hit edit for the structure. So the way this table works here is each one of these is an actual layer inside that wall. Right now we really only have one. These core boundaries are like imaginary layers. They don't have any thickness, and they really just represent a line between the inside of the wall itself, the exterior side of the wall, and the interior side. So this would be like the part that faces your house, like your rooms in your house. Out here would be the part that faces the lawn and the outdoors. And this middle section is what's actually like holding up the wall. So in our case, it'd be like the studs, maybe insulation, things like that. So we're pretty much going to leave that alone, but we can insert layers here. So I'm going to hit insert. And you see that added a new one. So my 6-inch layer is still here. And what I can do is I can move this up. I can move it down. So I'm going to move that to the exterior side of the wall. And I'm going to actually edit and change the function of this. So this is like the purpose of this layer. And I'm going to change it to finish 1. We use finish 1 for the outside, and you'd actually use finish 2 for the inside if you were doing drywall or something. I'm just going to show you how to add the exterior side, and then that's going to be it for now. Maybe I'll do some bonus stuff at the end. So our next step is to actually change the material that this wall is made of. This is where the real magic comes in. This is what lets us change the appearance of the wall. To change the material, you can't just click in this box. You have to click on this little 3-dot spot. And when you do, you're going to get this pop-up that comes up. Yours may look different. Yours may be all collapsed like this. If that's the case, you can click these little arrows down here to expand these. And please let me know if yours looks different from this video, because it's possible that I have settings that are changed that may be different from yours that I don't know. So let me know. And what we can do is let's just search siding. And what's going to happen probably to you. So in my case, there's siding, there's clapboard siding, but maybe I don't want clapboard this time. I want like cedar shakes, but I'm not seeing them. Well, we actually have these material libraries, and you got to expand this. So if these aren't showing up for you, you may have to make that part bigger, or again, ask me if you can't find stuff. And now we see, oh, look at that. In the library of materials is wooden shakes. And this little up arrow here will add the material into your document. And now it's usable. Now it's up here. And much like how we could change those types, you could make different materials and assign them to different types of walls if you wanted to. We're just going to do one for now, but just so you know that that exists. So now if you want to change the color, give the appearance of the shakes being painted or something, what you can actually do over here is you can turn down the image that's being applied to make it a little more transparent. And you'll notice this wall now in the rendering here looks a little more white. And then you can click in the color box and drag this slider around. Maybe you want like a bluish color and we want it to be like a darker blue. So I'm going to drag that down, say okay. And what that's going to do is it's actually going to tint the material itself. And what you could do is you could actually, again, you could duplicate these. You could have like blue shakes and red shakes. And you might not paint shakes in real life, but some people do. I think my parents' house actually painted cedar shakes. Some people prefer the natural wood look, so whatever you prefer. And then you're just going to click OK. And now you'll notice the material for that layer is now wooden shake. Okay, another critical part is you have to give a thickness to this. So I'm just going to type 0.5 and then the inch sign, the quote mark, and that's going to give it a 1/2 inch thickness. So this is what sort of creates all the proper layers for this. And the reality is a true wall would actually have beneath, I'm going to move this down, underneath the siding, it would have a layer, just a structural layer, probably another 1/2 inch. And this one would actually probably be, oh, I got to put the inch symbol, probably be plywood. So you can add these layers if you want this to really be true plywood, true to a true wall that you're creating. But it's up to you for this project. Really, I just want you to see that you can change the exterior. And that's what I'm looking for as far as a submission for the activity, is just a screenshot of your walls with a different color. And you could even add, we could add another layer. We could bring this down. We could call this one the finish 2, and we could make this gypsum drywall. So you can go nuts on this. Gypsum, there we go. Pick wallboard. You could change that thickness, probably about a 1/2 inch also. Oops, I did it again. Great. Now, if we click OK, what it does is that's going to assign all the structures of the wall. And what we should find is, look at that, our wall has turned blue. You might find in some situations that you're like, wait a minute, it didn't change. That's because this wall, I just hit the space bar on the keyboard. Sometimes when you place walls, they're flipped so that the exterior side is facing the interior of the house. So if you just select that wall and then hit the space bar and unselect it, you'll see the change. So that's always worth a try. And now the last question is, how the heck do we update all the walls to make sure they all have that pattern? Well, this is pretty simple. So we don't want to pick the wall we already changed now. We want to pick all the other walls that are still of, if you watch this, if I pick this wall, that says basic generic wall. If I pick this one, it should say my 2x6. Great. So I'm going to just pick the generic wall, and I'm actually going to right click on that, and I'm going to say select. Where is it? Hello. There we go. Select all instances in entire project or visible in view, depending on what you want to do. If you do in entire project, you notice it selected every wall except that one, every exterior wall. It didn't pick my interior walls. They didn't turn blue and become see-through. And now I can just very easily go right here and change the type of all the walls I have selected to 2x6 exterior. Sometimes it throws an error. I'm glad that it didn't this time. If it ever does throw an error, just read it carefully and try to make a good decision based on what it says. And now we have changed all of that house to that color. If you decide you want a different color, now you can just edit the type, edit the structure, find that material of the outside layer, the exterior layer, and you could just go in the appearance tab here. And again, if that's not showing up, you may need to expand it. And you could edit, maybe we wanted more of like a green, like a forest green. There we go. Say okay. I like dark colors personally. Say okay, okay. And now you've updated the entire exterior of the house. So at this point, you probably, hopefully understand what's going on. I'm going to actually do another example. I'm going to do the roof. Okay, so the roof follows the same principle, but you can stop watching now if you understand this, because it's really the same steps for the roof. So if I pick the roof, okay, and I say edit type again, I am going to go in here and I am going to duplicate this, and I'm going to call this one let's do 2x6. We'll do a 2x6 roof also. 2x6 roof. Okay. And so in this case, actually, here's a little Easter egg. We would want 2x6s, and I should have changed this for the wall. 2x6s are really 5.5 inches, inch symbol. There we go. So you can change the interior of that, and it looks like I actually already have this set to softwood lumber. So I forgot to do that on the wall, but you can change the structural material on the inside too to something like that. But let's keep going with the example here. So we need to add a finish 1 exterior layer. So I'm going to hit insert. I'm going to move this up to the top layer of the wall, or the roof rather. Change the material. And this time I'm going to find asphalt shingles. Asphalt shingle. And look at that. This one's already in my project. Again, if you wanted, like, I don't know if they have slate. I don't think they do. Oh, look at that. I have slate. So let's say I want to do a slate roof, which is actually, you'd have all sorts of other issues then. You'd have to build the roof differently. But let's add that to the document just for fun. We'll do slate. And maybe you want it to be, oh, this might be a strange pattern. Well, we'll see how it looks. This is always fun. I don't know if we can make this a little more blue. It's a more bluestone slate. We'd have to bring that image fade down a little bit to let that blue come through. So there we go. We'll say okay. And let's make sure that has a thickness, maybe another 1/2 inch. That's probably good. I keep forgetting the inch sign. There we go. And let's just roll with that. So we'll say okay. And it's actually going to make our roof thinner now because we had a 12-inch roof selected. But now, look at that. Now we have the slate on the roof. Oh, that's awful. So that's really gross looking, but I'm going to stick with it for the sake of the demo here. So again, if you want to change these 2 roofs now, which are separate roofs, again, you could right click, say select all instances in project or in view, and it's going to pick those 2 remaining roofs. Go over here and change that to your 2x6 roof. And now everything matches. And you know what? If you don't like that, because I really hate how that roof looks, I'm going to pick it, edit the type. So you can always come back in and edit. Whoops, I collapsed it. Edit, and let's change this to, let's do asphalt shingles because they just look so much better. Shingle, asphalt shingle. But let's change, maybe get more of a, well, it's going to look like a Christmas house, but let's get more of a like reddish brown color in there. Yeah, like that. Okay. Fade the image down a little bit. It preserves the texture because there's actually also like a texture layer down here, a bump layer. So there we go. Okay. Bam. And now we have our asphalt shingle roof and it's brown. And there's other things with this house. It has no windows, other things, but that's what I want. And then you can grab yourself a screenshot of this and submit that into Google Classroom for this assignment. If you're doing this as an assignment, if you're just using this as a resource, I hope that it helps. All right, that's all.